Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your favorite casual basketball fan, Skinny Hardaway. I was on Twitter the other day and I seen that J.R. Smith was tweeting about what Tracy McGrady had said at his Hall of Fame Memorial Press Conference. McGrady was asked by Dana Jacobson, does the Hall of Fame validate the fact that he didn't win an NBA championship? He replied, and quote, "This certifies it, you know. I wasn't fortunate enough to win a championship, even get out of the first round. A team accomplishment didn't really do much in the playoffs, so having the opportunity to be a Hall of Famer validates and certifies what I have accomplished in my career." Now, JR didn't tweet verbatim what McGrady said, but he did sum it up in this tweet. This man really said anyone can win a ring, but not everyone can make it to the Hall of Fame? So no one else thinks that is dumb as hell? He went on to tweet a couple more things on the subject. Facts. People who did nothing make the Hall. If it was like the MLB, okay. But Basketball Hall of Fame, you can build a park and get in. He said that in response to a tweet. So, you play for the Hall of Fame and not to win? If I was on his team, we fighting. I don't care. If we don't play no more. Don't waste my time. Not with who? And I can see why J.R. Smith didn't agree with what McGrady said due to he was on the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers championship team. I won't say that he didn't play a role in that finals or the playoff run period, but he definitely wasn't the best player on the team. I also see where T-Mac is coming from too. Hall of Fame is one of the highest individual accomplishments you can receive in any sport, possibly along with winning the MVP. I've always wanted to go deeper into this topic, so now I have an excuse to do so. The Basketball Hall of Fame has been scrutinized over time as being too easy to get into, and for the most part it comes from the fact that it's not the NBA Hall of Fame, but basketball, which means it includes all levels and forms of basketball, which means coaches, referees, teams, and contributors. I've seen people explain that the NBA needs a separate Hall of Fame, which on the surface sounds good, but it'll be probably too much of a headache. To clarify, there's currently less than 200 basketball players in the Hall of Fame right now. At most, you see no more than 4 NBA players enshrined per year. Exclusive, right? Well, my only dilemma with this is that there's guys that are missing from the Hall that should be there. I looked at the list of players that are enshrined, and the Hall likes to induct pioneers of the game, which I'm not against due to they laid the foundation of what we have today. But there's some guys who are in that their numbers aren't too far from the guys I'll mention. And before we get into this, I want to preface this with a disclaimer. I am not in any way, shape, or form making one player superior or discrediting a player in what they had done over their careers. I am simply using them for comparison purposes. All players mentioned were great players in their time, and I will not try to tarnish their legacies. Okay, to give you an idea what I'm talking about, let's look at Hall of Famer Connie Hawkins. He was a 4-time NBA All-Star and a member of the 1969-1970 All-NBA team. His career averages are 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists, while shooting 48% from the field, 16% from the three-point line, even though it was recorded in the ABA, and 78% from the free throw line. While he had his best years as a Harlem Globetrotter and in the ABA, he spent 7 seasons in the NBA playing with the Phoenix Suns, Los Angeles Lakers, and the Atlanta Hawks. During his All-Star years, he averaged 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists on 46% shooting. In his 2 postseason appearances, he averaged 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. He was never on an NBA championship team. I did some similarity scores and tried to find the best match or equal for the sake of this argument, and I found one player in particular. Chris Webber was a 5-time All-Star and All-NBA team member who was also the 1993-1994 Rookie of the Year. His career averages are 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists while shooting 48% from the field, 30% from deep, and 65% from the line. He spent 15 seasons in the NBA playing with the Golden State Warriors, Washington Wizards, Sacramento Kings, Philadelphia 76ers, and Detroit Pistons. During his All-Star years, he averaged 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists on 49% shooting. In his 10 postseason appearances, he averaged 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. As you all know, he wasn't on an official NBA championship team, but if you ask some basketball fans who have any knowledge or witnessed the 2002 Western Conference Finals, they'll tell you that the team that won it all didn't really win it all. But that's not what I'm here for, but just wanted to throw that out there. Some of you guys might be saying, okay, I see that those guys had similar careers. One is in the Hall while the other isn't. Webber will surely be in the Hall of Fame soon, right? Wrong. On the Hall of Fame website, it lists the eligibility for basketball players to be fully retired for 4 full seasons, and they can be considered for enshrinement in the 5th year of retirement. If a player comes out of retirement for a short period of time, the Board of Hall of Fame trustees will review their eligibility on an individual basis. Weber has been officially retired since 2008. It's almost been a decade and he's still not in the Hall of Fame. And according to Basketball Reference, he has less than a 15% chance to make it to the Hall. That's crazy. And you can probably name some more guys who aren't in but deserve to be, such as Tim Hardaway, Kevin Johnson, Sidney Moncrief, and Penny Hardaway. Yes, Penny is a Hall of Famer, don't debate me on this, I'm being as objective as possible. So I see what J.R. Smith is saying, that the Hall isn't as exclusive or prestigious as we'd like it to be, and that there are guys who should be in there that aren't. Oh, and to touch on J.R. Smith's point of building a park, William Davidson is in the Hall of Fame. He was the owner of the Detroit Pistons in their heyday of the 1980s, but he paid for the Palace of Auburn Hills. So not your typical park, but you get the gist. On the flip side, I see where T-Mac is coming from, in that everyone on a championship team gets a ring, even all the way down to the ball boys and sometimes the maintenance crew. But to stay on topic, you have guys who are just average role players to bench warmers who are on championship team or teams and have a collection of rings. The first player on this list is a guy I guarantee 95% of you have never even heard of, and that's Jim Luskadov. He was a member of the Dynasty Celtics in the 60s. His career averages are 6 points, 6 rebounds, and a little less than 1 assist per game. I understand that it was the 60s, so averaging 20 a game probably meant you were the best scorer in the league at the time. But for a guy to get 7 rings when we all know Bill Russell and Bob Cousy were the leaders of that team proves McGrady's point. A role player / bench player averaging 5 points and 5 rebounds during the Celtics championship runs can stack up more rings than he has fingers on one hand than a guy who was averaging 27, 5, and 5 as an all-star. And to keep it closer to modern times, let's look at another guy who was a role / bench player, Will Perdue. He received rings from 2 different franchises and was on a team that three-peated for the bulk of his rings. He's upper echelon when it comes to mediocre. Averaging 5 points and 5 rebounds for his career, his best season, he put up 8 points and 7 rebounds. That was after Michael Jordan's first retirement. And in the postseason, he never started a game for the Bulls in their first three-peat and averaged a shade under 10 minutes a game. Then he gets a ring in the 1998-99 season with the Spurs, where he only started 1 game as a center. Remember, David Robinson wasn't in his prime anymore at this point, but still wasn't getting enough minutes to relieve David Robinson of the workload at center. And in the postseason, Will Perdue averaged 1 point, 1 rebound, oh here's the kicker, almost 2 fouls a game. Amazing, right? I know there's a group of fans out there who love to preach and argue players are better if they have more rings, but then when you use what I use as an example, they say, oh, you're not comparing star players to star players. And yes, that's true to an extent, but you see the hypocrisy in that? You want me to exclude certain players from the ring conversation, but then try to justify and remove all context when using it to compare certain players. All rings are the same in that the fact that everyone will get one on a championship team. Rings are a poor way to measure or evaluate a player and should never be brought up as a staple of your argument when arguing individual players or accomplishments. You should look more at their performance in that situation rather than what the team outcome was. T-Mac said it best here. Social media can give a lot of people voices these days, and the first thing they say is no rings, no rings. You have to have a great team and some luck to get a ring, right? Unfortunately, I wasn't blessed with that. That seems like it's the biggest struggle for me as a fan to try to comprehend why other fans do this. And it's not just the people of social media, it's people who are well into their 40s and older who've witnessed more basketball than I have. I think it's something that's been passed down as opposed to something that started on social media and became an inkling that others latched onto. So whatever side you agree with, just understand that there's always going to be some asterisks, for lack of better words, and that most of these topics have to be on a situational basis. There is no clear-cut way to interpret it. That's it for me, everyone. Thank you all for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up and click that subscribe button and the bell for notifications on my channel. This is Skinny Hardaway signing out.